Terrible.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call the CSD Policy Committee regular meeting to order. Today is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. It's 3 p.m. Right now it's 3:01 p.m. And we are coming to order. We have 4 of the 5 members of the committee here as we speak, and so we do have a quorum. Do we have any ad hoc subcommittee reports? I don't think so.
We have an ad hoc subcommittee.
I just thought maybe in case I didn't know. Yeah. Okay. So under 1D, I have a chairman's report. It's very short. I did remind you all to listen in to the Zone Haven presentation. Did everybody get a chance to listen to that? Yeah. Yes.
So my question would be, what are they thinking once they make that alert announcement that they think that everybody's going to wait their turn? Instead of hightailing it to out of town before there's a big accident at the intersection of, you know, Art Ave and Burton, and then close everything down.
Yeah, from what they said during the presentation, that other communities have been using it and it works well for them. But lots of questions about that.
I mean, you see smoke coming over the hill and the glow in the background. You say, well, let's see, you know, I'm scheduled for 2.5 hours out here. I'm just gonna sit and pull my heels and
That's a tricky one, actually.
Yeah. That's it.
I think that it may give people a false sense of security and maybe easier to say we have this plan instead of actually doing anything to improve, you know, the ability to get the hell out of Dodge quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
Which is really the issue.
I think it's at this point, it's like that we have something that is in place and we need to try it out. So, and that's going to be
to try it out.
well, hopefully we will. But on a, we don't get to have a drill.
Mill Valley does one every year. They do up in the Bay Area, up in Marin County. They do a community-wide fire drill every year.
There it is in the policy to have a drill.
Yeah.
They just haven't got that far.
Yes.
So it's not true that we're not gonna have it. They think we're not, but I'm gonna make sure we have it. It's in the policy. I changed it way back.
Okay, good, Gordon, thank you. Okay. Then the second thing I wanted to talk about was the agenda item that we had where we talked about the role of the general manager. I looked into what kind of authority, what kind of role do we have in that? And as far as a policy on the role of the general manager, both President Dean and our general counsel said that's not something that is under the purview of the policy committee. Mm-hmm. There's already a government code in place for the general manager's role. And this is 61051. Says the general manager shall be responsible for all of the following. A, the implementation of policies established by the board of directors for the operation of the district. B, the appointment, supervision, discipline, and dismissal of the district's employees consistent with the employee relations system established by the board of directors. C, the supervision of the district's facilities and services. And D, the supervision of the district's finances. This was added effective January 1, 2006. So as the policy committee stands right now, we don't have any authority to change that role.
I have a question.
Yes.
would we have the authority to expand upon it or to, because there are some issues that might have to do where there's lack of clarity. And we can't contradict it,
No,
but does it mean that we can't touch the matter at all? Or
so,
yeah,
so
that's what I'm
further
kinda wondering.
describe,
Yeah.
I
don't know-
think
don't
that's
know.
a really good question.
That was my,
Yeah.
that's maybe.
Yeah,
That was our intent as a policy, to
Right.
find clarifications, make sure the policy was consistent about just one manager versus the next one. Comes on a little more detailed.
yeah, yeah. Well, I will ask that question. Hey, and then we have done a lot of work on several policies, and those policies have been forwarded to the board, and they will be on the December 14th board meeting agenda.
What's going forward? Policy.
All kinds of stuff.
This is what-
Yeah, these were attached to the minutes. Thank you,
Oh,
Secretary.
so, how to
Yes,
handle that. Yeah, so yeah, the minutes have it, yeah.
yeah, the legal counsel and auditor responds to correspondence by the board. Those are the two. And then those were the.
Attachment 4F, I believe.
Yeah. They were.
Right, 4F and 4B, yeah.
Right. Okay, I don't have,
We approved of those, yeah.
I don't have anything else under my report, but I'd like to ask if you all have any more questions? And then we can ask for public comment. Do we have anyone who would like to make a comment, public comment from those on Zoom?
Yeah, so it is.
I don't have any hands raised.
Oh, we have visitors?
Oh, we have the Laura and.
Oh, good, great.
We have an 805 phone number. I don't know the name. Avery Cooper, Carrie Farmer, and Laura Schwartz.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
cool. It's nice to have other people.
And welcome
Yeah.
to the meeting. So now it is your turn. Any committee member communications?
No comment I would have if I heard that Claudia had a meeting prior to this for medical appointment. Wasn't sure if she's going to make it.
Oh, okay, well,
But I'm
then,
not sure.
yeah,
I
she didn't,
didn't talk to her this week.
yeah, she didn't let me know, so,
Okay.
all right,
Yeah, on policy.
okay, nothing else? Okay. So let's go then to public comment. And members of the public may now address the committee on any item that is not on the agenda. We can't discuss or act on any of the items that are brought forward, but we would welcome anything that anyone has to say as far as public comment. No public comment. Okay, thank you very much.
Good,
All right, let's go to the consent agenda.
all right.
This is consideration to approve the September 28th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. And once again, I'd like to thank our secretary for
Yeah.
beautifully written.
Yes, well done.
Well done, that's right.
And I like the attachment, that was
Ah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I'll keep doing that.
Yes.
Otherwise, how do we know?
No, it helps.
it's very
It
helpful.
helps.
Yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see anything glaring.
We did have some items before to the next meeting.
Yes.
Sorry, Ms. Early on.
No, let me
To,
speak to those things then.
It's fine, I just noticed that.
No, so I did speak to the overview of the general manager. The legislative advocacy policy, we talked about, and we said that that really wasn't within the role of, the CCSD as it stands. That we do have, advocacy through CSDA, but, if we want to do that further, then I will put that on the next agenda. And then we do have some of the more policies. The purchasing policy, I'm gonna speak to that when we get to that agenda. Okay. Okay, is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Don't see any. No comments from the committee? Right, do I have a motion?
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't there.
Oh,
Great. Okay, Thank you.
Gordon.
all right, let's go then to the next agenda item. Under regular business, we have agenda item 4A, which is the review, discussion, and of the draft CCSD policy 2135 purchasing. So I did give you kind of a rundown in the discussion of kind of what's been happening with that. And I do have two very important pieces here who are attending. May I ask that Ms. Fritz and Ms. Dodson, hello, good to see you.
good.
During the meeting, but I couldn't talk. Oh. Okay. And I had talked with Director Gray about kind of what we, how do we address this? Because these 90 pages of information that have been looked at and worked through and that kind of thing. We need to start, I believe, with the policy as it stands right now. This is the purchasing policy 2135, and you have that in your packet. Now, what I did was I forwarded this policy, or they gave it to me, and then I gave it back to both Ms. Fritz and Ms. Dodson, Mrs. Dodson and Mrs. Fritz. I don't know exactly. Is that true? Okay. And they are diligently working on producing a red line version of recommendation, because purchasing policy is really about what it allows the staff to do. Once we get their red line version, then we can work on it as a committee.
That was my question. I
Yes.
wrote down, maybe we should wait for the staff's red line before
Yes.
reviewing this policy.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
of course, I went and made copious notes about.
Well, and
which takes-
I keep that because it will be on the next agenda. And at the time, it was kind of not for sure whether we would have it in time for this committee, but we will have it in time for the next committee meeting, I believe. I've been promised. And so at that point, we'll know what it is that they need from this purchasing policy, and then we can take a look at it and decide what else we need to add or what we need to delete or what needs to be added. That makes sense to you all?
Yeah, I mean, I read through this thing and I personally didn't see, anything really glaring.
Yeah.
But then, I kept thinking to myself, well, when this thing is in action, that's when the things show up.
Yeah.
So, the scenarios, how do you come up with all these scenarios in your head? Now, I know at one point in time, Director Howell had some issues that he was very concerned about with this policy, but I, off the top of my head, can't remember what they are. But
I think it's in these 90 pages.
it's probably in those 90 pages.
Yeah.
So, I agree. I think, that the people who are directly dealing with this every day are gonna find the warts in this thing, and then it would be, good time for us to take a look.
How to make it work.
Yeah.
I would just point out that many of the comments that I saw when I went through this had to do with decision-making that is completely subjective, which makes it hard to make it a policy. I mean, they say, micro purchases may be awarded without soliciting competitive quotations if the price is reasonable. Well, who decides if the price is reasonable?
That's your
Right.
question.
Right.
And it says the same thing about, under competitive proposals, it says, the most qualified competitor is selected. Well, who decides who the most qualified?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just, I mean, this is not my bailiwick at all, this kind of thing, but still, those are where you get into arguments, right?
Not only that, but it's good for them to hear what you're saying here.
Mhm.
Because I went through it and I have little different kinds of circles and suggestions and spelling and yeah. So, that's really important. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
talk about it today?
I don't want to talk about it well, I want to talk about what you found that were your concerns so that they can address those when they're doing.
Those were the big ones. I mean, the small purchase procedure works up to $150,000, which does not sound like a small purchase for CCSD. I wonder
Well,
if when the district buys a tractor, if they make sure they're only buying an item that contains the highest percentage of recovered materials practicable.
Mhm. Well, we
Make sure
do
it's a
have,
recycled tractor.
yeah, we do have General Manager McElhaney here. Did you want to speak to that, General Manager?
Hi, everybody. Can we repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Which question?
The last question.
Oh, about the tractor?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, there's a, just as people are going through and cleaning this up, there's a procurement of recovered materials. There's apparently a Solid Waste Disposal Act and a Resource Conservation and Recovery Act that requires that on any purchase that exceeds $10,000, only items that meet an EPA guideline and contain the highest percentage of recovered materials purchased. And I just wonder if when you're buying a tractor or a pickup truck or something, if anybody looks into how much of that tractor or pickup truck is made out of recycled materials. I would suspect.
I can check with our program manager.
The
Program manager who handles.
I think he's trying to answer the question.
Yeah.
We can't hear him.
You were breaking up, and if it's not possible for you to answer the question, I think it's still important that that the staff that are here are hearing the concerns. The other thing that I was unsure about, if you look, the board approved this purchasing policy in 2015. My concern was, are all these laws still in effect?
No.
Yes.
So that's one of the things is I think that, as Ms. Dotson and I work on this, I mean, procurement is not, and there's a whole industry surrounding procurement professionals, and that is not my background. Even though I use procurement, nor Ms. Dotson, so there's gonna be, for us, a lot of research that goes into things just like that. I'm assuming with the recycled material, there's probably some exceptions, maybe vehicles might be one of them, because they're typically made out of recycled material, so.
Right.
But I don't have that, that back, on the top of my head, so, and making sure that this. So some of my concerns is making sure that everything that's cited in here is still relevant
Yes.
and up to date, because 2015 was quite a long time ago, as well as. For me, looking into what other organizations do to make sure that we're doing industry standard for some of these things, looking at the dollar values and making sure they make sense. As far as limits of purchases and that sort of thing. So that's what's gonna take us a little bit of time to thoroughly look at this and not just, update this.
Yeah.
And also, any comments you all have, feel free to scan it or come by the office and drop off a copy or send us
Yeah, I
or
was gonna say.
in an email your suggestions, hope by next Friday.
Mhm.
And so that Ms. Dodson and I can take into all of, can go through all of those as we're looking at this document.
And I just want to say, just one moment, I just want to say that for you to do a thorough job of what we are requesting, if you need more time, please let us.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, I mean, people have notes already here,
know.
unless they're particularly attached to that specific document, if there's any reason why they can't just be given to these folks
Yeah.
right now, and then, and then they'll be able to walk away with, with those things and be able to flip through them and go, oh, okay, that's a spot, that's a spot, that's a spot, that's a spot.
Would that be helpful for you?
Yes.
Or if you don't have them in physical form and you want to scan them, or you have them in electronic form,
Just send them.
just send them directly to Haley and,
That's just the opposite of what you just said we're gonna do. We're gonna get their stuff first.
Right.
Well,
I'm
but
just
we
making
are,
but
yeah, but
people
we are-
already have issues.
we're making recommendations to them in
So we're
the,
gonna proceed,
sure,
that's where you think we weren't, I mean, just
well,
Yeah.
get back up to speed.
yeah, we're not going to, we have suggestions.
Right.
I'll
We're-
translate my comments into English,
Okay,
legible English, and then forward.
I just think it's helpful,
Sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
not that we're
yeah.
considering the
Right.
policy at this point.
Correct, yeah, this is just preliminary work.
Yeah.
That's it.
A quick question.
Yes.
Well, part of the problem of where we were before, as we were going through this, was the organization of the policy. And the problem here is that the term purchasing, as it came to be used with the district, is just procurement of all kinds of things. As a result, we have stuff in this policy, even without changing any words. But if you go back and you start organizing it, you'll see that there's budget preparation, there's credit card use, which has really nothing to do with purchasing, because there's travel restrictions in there.
Yeah,
The policy has been, it may have been originally approved in 2015, but it actually has material that goes way back. And as you can see it historically. What do we got?
Oh, Matthew has his hand
Oh,
up
that's a
too.
good
Are
one.
you done?
Well, I guess my question is, and then I'll shut up.
Sure.
I would like to have us look at the organization,
Sure.
and it might,
Yeah.
and that's without even changing anything, but just grouping things.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other thing, though, which might be of some value, but the committee would need to consider this, is when Ted and I started going through this, we noted that there was no distinction was being made between policies that would be set by the board. What the board limits the staff in terms of what they can do, or what the general manager can do. But there are also policies in there that were strictly operational policies that would normally be decided by the general manager.
Yeah.
And I felt that it might be well, when we get the finished product,
Right.
to distinguish those things that are really that the board has to deal with. But I don't think, for example, how many people have to approve something, or who the approvers should be.
Right.
The board doesn't need that.
No.
That's not the board's business,
No.
but it is in the policy.
Yeah.
So it might be well, as we go forward, to not only reorganize it,
Yeah.
but distinguish between those policies that are really the board's property
Right.
and those that are
Right.
Matthew's property.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to say about that, and I can talk to our auditors, is that part of our audit process is we're actually audited against our procurement policy as well as other policies. So there may be a reason to have that signature
It could be.
chain in the policy because to
Yeah.
audit us and make sure that we're getting all the proper authorizations. So I can ask that question of our auditors.
Yeah.
I guess, kind of going along with what Dawn was saying, is that I noticed that there were many amounts.
Yeah.
But it was so disorganized that what I wanted was something that says, okay, you've got a maximum of 10,000 for this and 150,000 for that, you know.
Like
so- So it needs to be
Like a-
organized, and it's on like,
Yeah.
like,
a table.
yeah,
Like a
like a
table.
table or
Yeah.
spreadsheet or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
because I kept going back and forth trying to figure out what
Right.
the heck was going on, and
Yeah.
I think some of them contradict each other.
They do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem, but, can I just send, these young women, can I just send you like all my yellow lines of all my concerns, and do I have to, I don't know if I need to tell you all my problems, but can I just give you the yellow things? Okay, got it.
That's
Okay,
great.
I'll do that.
You got it.
And Matthew had his hand up.
Oh, yeah.
So Matthew, I'm sorry, General Manager McElhaney. Did you have something you wanted to say?
He's left.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having technology issues. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Can you hear me okay?
yes.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody for their comments. Yeah, I can hear you. It's a little bit of a delay. What I'll do is I'll touch base as far as Mr. Townsend's question. I'll touch base with Tristan Reaper, our program manager, because he really handles a lot of our contracts and a lot of those elements to the contracts that you're asking about. So we'll take all these questions and these information and the notes, and we'll have a better explanation of the processes we follow.
Mhm. Cool.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion from the committee? Do we have anyone who would like to make public comment? Doesn't look like we do. Okay,
One comment maybe,
yes,
it'd be better to funnel these things to chairman as opposed to individually, so you know what's being sent to the finance people.
yeah, just copy me, yeah, just copy me, that'd be great,
I think we need to have one comment.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just copy me. The other thing is, if there are parts of this policy that need to be in a different policy, let us know that too, because that's what I'm thinking that you're talking about. Okay. All right. So I don't think we need a motion or anything, because you all know kind of where we are.
Yeah, there's no motion
Okay,
here.
great.
We just referred.
Yeah, refer it to
Yeah.
the people who know what they're doing about it.
Well, people who are living.
There you go. That's even better. Okay. So then let's go ahead and go to the next agenda item. This is agenda item 4B. This is review and discussion of the draft CSDA policy 3142 whistleblowing.
Is it a draft policy?
It's a draft. Well, this is the policy that's there.
It is there.
Yes.
So it's the CSDA policy, but it is not yet a CCSD policy.
Exactly, and that's what I have in my draft, in my report, yeah, it's CCSD, and you know, I think. In my opinion, there shouldn't be, in the policy handbook, there shouldn't be CSDA policy and CCSD policies, there need to be only
Oh, yeah.
CCSD
Yeah.
policies.
Oh, yeah.
And by doing that, what we have then is we have a policy that has been approved by this board. But I think, in the past, there have been policies that were just taken from
Mhm.
CSDA and put into the CCSD policy. handbook. Is that?
Yeah, so this is not board adopted here.
No. Yeah, and this, it doesn't have a date where it was adopted.
Right.
Okay, so this has been around for a while. We discussed that policy committee on January 2nd of 2020.
Mhm.
And so I think it's time to take a look at this.
Well, it says here, the district has hired a consultant to review and support the district in personnel issues, but is currently reviewing
Mhm.
CCSD personnel policy. So
Yeah, Ms. Dodson, can you tell the committee, what has been happening with the the HR person that we have a consultant who's looking at that. Tell us what they're doing.
Yeah, sure. So the board of directors approved hiring MRG, which is Municipal Resources Group, I believe is the correct title. And they are helping us update some of our policies and procedures. And they're also helping with any human resources issues that Lieber Cassidy Whitmore can help us with, who is our personnel attorney.
So the question is, should we be giving an opinion on the whistleblowing policy? And what would you like from us about that?
Well, we're currently reviewing personnel procedures
Right.
and rules, and this may already be included. So if you want to just give me a quick second, I can look it up.
Great.
Because if it's already included in there, we probably would not need to adopt this.
And well, there are some things in here that do need to be discussed.
Yes,
if
they do.
are. Yeah, definitely. Some
Yes, Jim.
issues.
It just, and I mean, it just seemed to me, I read through it, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, just thinking that so much of this is legalese and based on law,
Right.
that what a bunch of folks sitting around the table here think would be cool or not cool may not pass muster with the laws that protect whistleblowers, and
Yes.
we should be careful not inserting stuff that is not going to pass muster with the law, so that somebody might rely on something, looking at the policy that is not supported by law and case law and all that sorts of stuff. It's rare that I would say leave it to the lawyers. But this would be a situation in which, unless there's something egregiously wrong, we're probably better off doing that.
I couldn't hear you, but that kind of got.
I just said that even though I'm usually willing to jump in and, give my opinion on just about any topic under the sun, for something like this, I would defer to the legal experts who understand the federal and state laws regarding whistleblowing and write the stuff. That we wouldn't want to add something to the policy that's not enforceable under the law, so that someone relies on that and gets hung out to dry.
Yeah, so I just reviewed the personnel rules, which is prepared by our attorney, and there is a section for whistleblower protection. So I think this is probably something that you should.
Okay, so, yes,
I was involved in, the lawsuit with Western College, and when, for our first, this has to do with retaliation, or it could be just, but when you have a problem, you're supposed to go to, I thought you're supposed to go to the DFEH. And that's the Fair Employment and Housing Organization. You can also look people Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, but I was working for the state government, and so if I was to go to that, because if the state government, this is the CSD, which is not state government. I would think that even more so that you would, that it should be in the document that they would make this report first to the DFEH. If there's somebody who's retaliating against them, it also includes, when somebody's harassing you or abusing you in some way, sexual harassment, discrimination, things like that. But it also works for the retaliation.
what is DFEH, Tim?
It's the Department of Fair Employment and Housing. I only know this because, but that's considered to be, what they do is you obtain from them a right to sue letters. The process is called administrative exhaustion. It's thought that maybe that should be in the document someplace where the employee would have the right to contact the DFEH or the EEOC or both.
Yeah,
Michael.
so, oh,
Just so you know.
General Manager McElhaney, did you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. I was just gonna jump in on Mr. Townsend's comment and Mrs. Dotson, who articulated it well. a lot of this document has been vetted through our legal team because a lot of it has to do with state and federal law. And so a lot of these policies, when it comes to whistleblowing, harassment, things of that nature, are mirroring state and federal law that is vetted through our attorneys. So even we as staff haven't really touched that language. That's vetted very well through our legal team. So I just wanted to back up Mr. Townsend's statement as far as that goes. And then there's also the interactive process that happens when there isn't a complaint from an employee that again is handled by our human resources team through MRG and LCW. And a lot of that is done through the legal process. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay, thank you very much. So what is the status that you were looking at about the whistle?
Well, currently in the draft rules that were updated. Matthew, Denise, and myself are currently in a meeting going over this whole document. It's 140 pages. And I don't know if you guys know, but our personnel rules date back to 1987. So we're really going page by page, making sure that all of this makes sense. So it's taking us a little bit, but we hope to have it to the unions for the meet and confer process sometime in early 2024, and then to the board of directors for approval by hopefully the spring. But we're currently reviewing it page by page.
I think that's terrific.
Yeah.
So are you saying then that the whistleblowing policy will be incorporated in the document so that we shouldn't even look at this because it's gonna be?
No, that's the right way to put it.
We have a whistleblower protection policy already incorporated in these personnel rules. So I would suggest that we go with these rules since this has already been vetted through our legal team.
Okay, so yeah, let me just ask. So the policy handbook as it stands right now, the personnel policies are gonna be very different. They're gonna be updated. So this makes things a little difficult for this committee. Because we were tasked with looking at the handbook and deciding, making recommendations about what needs to happen. So my question would be, if there's a CSDA policy that's in our handbook right now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting these into actually CCSD policies.
You didn't say that.
But that's my question.
Yes.
Thank you.
So this document can be included in the policy handbook as its own item. And then maybe you could reference that the whistleblower policy is outlined in personnel rules section 2.08 or
So
whatever
it'll
it
be
is.
personnel rules.
So you guys have already reviewed it. It's a CSDA policy technically, but we've actually identified it as a CCSD policy through our personnel rules. Does that make
That's
sense?
possible.
I don't like having personnel rules and a whistleblowing policy when there may be some interface that doesn't match.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be two different policies. I'm just saying on your policy handbook list.
Yeah,
There could be a whistleblowing protection policy.
yeah.
And you just say, CCSD personnel rules section 208.
Oh,
But it may conflict with what you're.
It wouldn't conflict because you guys wouldn't be using the CCSD.
no, this would go away.
policy.
Yeah, this would go.
So,
It would just be.
But we could still follow the CSDA policy handbook index that we've been following for years. So we use their index as our guiding document to create our own rules and policies.
Policy handbook.
Yeah.
okay, there are some issues in here though
Yeah.
that might not be dealt with in the personnel aspect of the whistleblowing.
Yeah.
For one thing, this policy does refer to both board members and volunteers.
Yes.
So those are outside of the realm of the,
Correct.
so that's why it may be necessary to have a larger policy of which the personnel policy is in part. Because there may be issues having to do, well, for one thing with volunteers. If how as a volunteer needs to be protected in the event that they discover some malfeasance. And the other question is, and I'll just lay it all out because that hasn't, that this does not deal with the way that we would want to do it, has to do with issues where the complaint is against a board member. And again, that would not be personnel policy,
Yeah.
but this is absolutely contrary to our own procedure, what's in here, where it's giving the executive committee all the judicial powers is not in our bylaws at all. You know, the
Yeah.
board itself has to, so what I'm saying is that we may need a larger container to hold these issues having to do with non-employees.
Mhm.
But with employees, then you have to definitely refer to because how an employee deals with the grievance, there's special grievance
Mhm.
procedures. And normally the employee has to follow those procedures before they ever get to court. And the other thing to remember is that in any kind of employee dispute, it is the board that the employee can appeal to.
Yes.
So, and that would be true in all cases.
Yeah.
At least the way our bylaws are written. So what I'm saying is, well, it's good that this is happening. But I think that the personnel thing is a little too narrow to deal with the broader issues that could be. For example, this policy talks about a removal of a director from office. Now,
Yeah.
that's something that you have to be extremely careful about. Is having an elected official and the other officials, in the executive committee
Yeah.
dismisses a board member. That's simply.
And it doesn't even define what executive committee
I
is.
think it's the president. vice president.
I do too.
Right.
So there are issues there that would need to be addressed one way or another.
So my concern, did somebody else want
No, shut
to?
up.
No, I was just trying to figure out how a volunteer, for example, needs to be covered by a whistleblower policy, given that there's very limited ability for the district to retaliate against the volunteer. I mean, we might get fired.
Yeah.
You
You're so bad.
know,
Well,
but beyond that, there's really not much, and kind of the same with a board member.
my concern
But
is,
board members get paid though, so it's different.
That's
yeah,
true.
we
They get
are
stipend. That's right.
employee.
That's right.
Yeah, this isn't about malfeasance by volunteers, but rather encourage board members, staff, and volunteers to report any credible information in their possession. So, because volunteers could become party to information which they would say, raise a complaint to the general manager, which
Yeah.
would probably be the first place they would go,
Yeah.
right? Saying, well, anyway.
My concern is that this is in the policy handbook.
A little premature, but.
Right, yeah, I
I
mean,
mean-
that was my big question is. You have all this going on,
Yeah,
but this is in the book
Yeah.
right now.
yeah. So then,
Ouch.
yeah. See, that's what I'm finding, because I'm going through the policy handbook really carefully and looking at everything, and I'm finding that, and the last thing you want to do is have a policy in your policy handbook that you're not following.
Yeah.
So, it's a larger issue.
Yeah. Well,
Another comment,
Yes, sir.
maybe policy written by the upper echelon, what owls, want common sense, as we mentioned earlier about the owl. That we need somebody needs to know what they're legally do before they get their foot in something they didn't need to, or they should into. Like this legalese stuff is like lawyers talk to each other and you pay them.
Yeah.
This is not what we want to know as members of the CCSD
Yeah,
organization, or that we
Community.
want to know where to go. And that was my impression back in 20, whatever it was, and this
Uh-huh.
first came up in our first meeting.
yeah,
This was brought up by a board member.
yes,
Therefore, my importance to this is to recognize that board member's interest in why this wasn't suitable the way it was written.
yeah,
And that's what we can do. We can say, yep, it's in the book. Whenever you run across this, we'll
Yeah.
get to it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we got it's going wrong, that going
Yeah.
wrong, but wow, I can't do anything because somebody's gonna tell me I can't do anything, I'm gonna be fired. That's my impression at the moment.
Mhm. Do you understand, you guys understand our concerns? Yeah,
Because we're the
Yeah.
community.
For personnel related
Mhm.
policies, I don't wanna have two different policies
No.
that we have to refer back to, so maybe it would just be removing the word employees from this document, so it covers board directors and volunteers.
That would be
And
possible.
then that way, it's not a
Then it's not a
district
personnel
employee
policy.
policy.
Yeah.
I like
It
that.
covers the board members and volunteers.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, something to think about.
It's kind of a rare situation, but
Yeah.
yeah. So
good.
could we take this policy and rewrite it for directors and volunteers and bring it back to the committee then?
As an interim piece.
So you mean, I'm sorry, what you're trying to say is that in the employee handbook.
Yeah,
There would be, with the employee policies, there
Right.
would be a whistleblower policy
Right.
that covers employees.
right.
And that in the policy handbook, there'd be a separate whistleblower policy that only applies to directors and volunteers.
It would be different than if you're being hired.
Yeah,
It would be different kinds of things. And I don't know what that would
it'd
be.
be interesting to see it.
Yeah. And we could,
If you're paid, it seems to me you would be protected under the same laws.
Mm,
well, it would be a different hierarchy.
yeah, that's,
You mean
they're
director?
not, directors
Yeah.
are not employees of the district,
Well,
Karen and I went through that, I think.
they kind of say we are.
Well, they are, we are and
That's
they
the
are. I mean,
point.
it's,
Aren't you an employee?
But you don't serve at
Get
the
reimbursed.
pleasure of the
it's an
general manager,
honorarium rather than a salary.
Paid.
No,
like the rest of the employees do.
yes,
And, you know, you were to go to court because there was a problem, then you would have, you still would not want to lose your pay, I mean, it's gotta, get that much, but
yeah.
I don't know, you have to ask an attorney, I guess, who knows about those kinds of things, but I don't know, I think it's almost like you need to have three, one for employees, one for board of directors, and one for volunteers. If you're gonna do that, I mean, you need to keep them all separate, because they're all different, because volunteers is very different than the board members, so.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, I would love for you to make a suggestion.
Why don't we table this?
Yeah.
Until such time as the personnel whistleblowing policy has been established.
Yeah.
And then we can look at it and say, okay, now what might we need to add? Or maybe we will, say with this.
For
might just be
directors and
fine. Yeah,
volunteers.
for directors and
Yeah, I
volunteers.
think we're gonna do a lot of legwork here that it's just gonna be
Okay.
for naught.
And that's gonna get done by January or so.
Probably later than that.
Michael's trying to say something.
Yeah,
Oh, here he is.
no. General Manager McElhaney, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Director/Chair Scott. Maybe I can check in with our legal team and they might be able to make this easier for us because I'm sure that they've dealt with these types of things before. And so when you ask about the differentiating volunteers and directors versus staff, they might have something kind of pre-plumbed that may help this process out. So, we don't end up spinning our wheels, so to speak.
Good
Yep.
idea.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I just one little last thing.
Yes.
In light of what happened recently in San Luis Obispo, somebody being fired because of impropriety, things happen pretty quickly nowadays. When I was involved in mine, it took 5 years,
Wow.
and it was a big pain, and, it was, what I mean? So because of that, the policy dealing with whistleblowing and retaliation, discrimination, anything like that is really, really critical to get done really soon.
Yeah.
Because, just like quick, somebody was going to physical therapy and the physical therapist is I touch your back. And it's getting pretty bad. So I don't think we should put this off. That's my point.
Yeah. Well, with what you were saying is, to the board in spring of 2024. So,
That's my hope,
yeah, so let's let's wait until that happens and then we'll bring it back here.
So it will be a decision to table until, I'm trying to guess. How
Well, that's the personnel, what?
It's the personnel policies, procedures and rules.
Okay.
Good, until, yeah,
Mhm.
I can get it off the recording.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, no, I think it's important. I mean, that, like I said, it makes me uncomfortable when we have a policy and we're not following it.
So we're probably,
Well,
yeah.
Or that you can get dinged by it because there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
do we have any public comment about this discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't see any. Okay, anything more? I don't think we need a motion.
No.
Not on this.
All right. Then let's go to agenda item 4C, which is review and discussion of the CCSD internet and email policy and CSDA policy 3300 internet, email, and electronic communications policy. Okay, so once again, we have a CCSD policy, and there is also a CSDA policy, and they don't match.
Similar.
Yeah, let's see, this one.
They're similar,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
The real concern is that the policy that is the CCSD policy was approved in 2003, which is 20 years ago.
That's this one,
And
right?
that's this one, yeah. And,
Yikes.
yeah. And I mean, even nobody does E-dash
Oh,
mail
not
anymore,
Yeah.
you know? Yes,
The thing that jumped out and actually really screamed at me reading the CCSD's policy is that it says the district can do all this stuff, but there's no defining of who the district is. And when you get to things like, access, monitor, review, and delete computer files, including emails, the district reserves the right to do that. Well, can the guy come back from, jet rotting out of sewer and start deleting emails on other people's computers? Are they part of the district?
yeah, this,
And you have to be really careful about deleting emails under any
Public, yeah,
circumstance.
yeah.
The lawyers would
Public records,
have a
yeah.
heart attack if they saw
I thought
that.
the emails were automatically deleted. Dr. Hilly can clarify this. So I thought all the emails were deleted after a certain period of time.
The
We
way,
talked about this
yeah,
policy
I don't know,
when you were the chair.
it's set up, forgive me.
no, that's okay.
What it was, it's a parameter that is set by the system administrators as to how long messages can remain in your inbox before they fall off. If you file them, they'll stay there forever unless there's some, but there is an issue, as I recall, Haley, wasn't it 3 months? I think it was 3 months.
30 days.
30
It was
days.
pretty short. wasn't it?
So there could be an issue, but actually, how does that affect the PRR requests if emails are
Oh, yeah.
falling off after 30 days?
The district only will provide them with what we have. Occasionally we'll have emails saved from a period longer than the 30 days on the P drive, and it's our duty to make sure that those are provided to the public requester.
Okay, or like when I was director, I always filed all the correspondence. They would be, and that would still be sitting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I forgot why I brought this up. Oh, it was, yeah, having to do with the automatic falling off. I guess the issue would be whether that should be, whether that should be continued or whether things should be saved forever, or, I guess that could be a decision, but.
It was, we talked about it before. It was, who determines what gets saved, and if it doesn't get saved. That somebody in public records might be, requested for something, I don't know. I don't want, I guess my question back then is, today, why do you have to delete them at all? I mean, because you can save things forever, but.
Well, I can tell you a lot of reasons.
So we're also working with the records records retention consultant right now,
Yeah.
and we're going through the process with her.
That should,
There are legal reasons why you do not want to keep emails for 10 years. So we're,
Or have to.
or have to.
yeah, yeah.
So
The emails will fall under our retention
So
policy.
that's, yeah, so that's, so that, this whole business was
Yeah,
kind of,
so if someone's responding, thanks,
yeah,
I can delete that.
yeah. I
For
know.
sure, but if it's substantive, if it's something with the budget, I should be keeping it based upon the retention policy that's
Right.
outlined in that finance, which is different for. I mean, we're going through a very extensive revamp of our
Yeah.
retention policy.
and that will be brought back before the board in early 2024 for their review and approval.
Michael has a comment.
Now, I think the intent of this original thing was that employees should understand that whatever they're doing could be subject to being deleted, and that they have no privacy on district.
This says that someplace.
Huh?
It says it over and over and over again.
Yeah, is it,
Good, right.
which is.
Yeah, sure.
Matt?
Didn't we go through this policy?
Well, let me help you
Yes,
on
we
that.
did.
What we did was a social media policy.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so, General Manager McElhaney has his hand up. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, just a little bit. My Rockstar staff already nailed it with the records retention policy. So that's going to be going before the board, which will have specifics about what needs to be retained legally with our emails and things of that matter. And then any changes to working conditions, we need to meet and confer with our union. So, if there's any other significant changes that, this policy committee is considering from a general manager perspective, when we change working conditions, I do need to meet and confer with the union about those. So that does take some time.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so thank you, General Manager McElhaney. I was told that I needed to use titles here. That's why I'm being careful. I think it's very important. So in the handbook, Ms. Dotson, do we have the CSDA policy and the Cambria Community Services District policy?
I don't think it's referenced twice in the handbook.
Which one is it that we have?
Well, let me see what we
So
got.
I think the handbook probably references this title. Let me bring it up and see.
Okay.
Yeah,
May I once again ask the question,
there it is.
if we are existing with a document that was created 6/19/03, how quickly do you think we can upgrade?
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think.
Clearly, that's in process.
So it looks like this policy 3300
Yeah,
has been retitled to the Internet and Email Policy, which was board approved on 6/19/2003, but it's actually just this policy from the CCSD. So at one point, the previous general manager had me go through here
oh,
and update titles for policies that we actually had in place
okay.
and replace it with the old CSDA title. So that's why it was renamed that way.
Okay. So
So-
is the CSDA policy the one that we're following?
No, we actually follow the CCSD policy from 2003.
Okay.
Oh, my gracious.
Okay, so I think this committee could make a recommendation.
Yes,
Just based on my reading,
Yes.
just for the sake of discussion.
yes.
I would recommend, just based upon this, that we suggest that the old policy simply be replaced by the policy 3300. As I read it, there's nothing objectionable
No.
in there. It covers all of the necessary bases. Remember, we do have an internet, a social media policy, which is
Right.
distinct and
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
So we could make a recommendation as the policy committee that we retire the CCSD policy, internet and mail policy with the CSDA policy as written.
Yeah.
But we would still need to go through a meet and confer process with our employees
Sure,
and make sure that this actually is something that we follow district wide. I think.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think it would be good for the general manager and myself to sit down and review the current CCSD policy versus the CSDA policy.
Okay,
To make sure this actually is what we would be following.
okay.
good.
And not only that, but there is a couple of things in the CSDA policy that really, like, for instance, it said use of the internet should not interfere. I put it shall not interfere.
Oh.
Yeah,
Those
and
kind
those
of
are things
things.
you can change.
Okay,
The other thing, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. were you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Yes. Oh, I think you were. Okay.
Oh, I had a couple of comments on the policy 3300.
Uh-huh.
The first one is 3300.2 rules regarding prohibited use. It says in kind of an Orwellian approach to this. It says prohibited use of the internet and email system includes, but is not limited to.
Right.
So I guess the question would be,
Yeah.
how can you expect someone to not do a prohibited use if they don't know what it is? You can't
Yeah, that's
You
pretty
can't-
open,
prohibit something after the fact, I don't think.
correct.
So that should be, I mean, my note is who decides?
Right.
So that was the first comment on that. The second one is that on number A, where it says that it's you can't access sites which there's no official business purpose, e.g. social media websites and online shopping websites. That should be modified because CCSD currently has both Facebook and Nextdoor accounts, which are social media websites. And that was not the case back in 2003.
Jim, we're,
On the
Under A.
It's
A,
3300-2
Yeah.
under A,
Yeah.
the question
Oh,
it
is,
just
yeah,
says
yeah.
e.g. social media website.
yeah,
Which is-
yeah,
which is
and
no
since
official
we're
business
already
place.
in social media
Well,
websites.
and-
Maybe, that might be a little bit confusing, because we do not want staff accessing social media
No.
on district computers, using,
Right.
their personal Facebook and whatnot.
Sure,
Matthew, and myself have access to the district's Facebook, Instagram, and Nextdoor accounts, so we occasionally go on there, post things,
Right.
respond to comments, and that's district social media accounts. I think the policy is referencing, more personal social media accounts. We wouldn't want staff doing that during district.
so it'd be pretty easy to clarify that.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, again, I think when we do propose a motion here, after some of these issues that are fleshed out right here are out there, that we would recommend that the review come post haste.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there are several things. For instance, do we have a systems administrator? It's a title. Do we have that?
No, that would
No.
be me.
Yeah,
Yes,
so we would need
so
to
we need
change
to
that.
just change that.
Yeah.
So there are some things that would need to be done to bring it into.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
So how do you wanna, go ahead.
And then I'm sorry, I'll just,
No.
that's all my comments here. Under B on the second page, it says, the district may monitor the contents of all computer files and email messages. That should not say the district. It should say something like, the general manager or his designee,
Yeah.
maybe.
Mm,
Yeah,
And that would be the same thing with deleting files, deleting emails, all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. That
okay.
should clarify
Your IT
as
director
to
should be
who
able.
can go
yeah.
through your
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, your IT person.
I would think.
That would be.
well, then you could be the designee.
Yeah, I think it'd rather be a designee
Yeah.
than listen.
That's a good-
Okay.
Can I offer something too? I think what we're doing is sort of offering to
Yeah.
the GM and our
Yeah,
administrative, our comments, and then you guys will.
Yeah,
yeah,
So in that vein, there's nothing in, two things. One is the policy should have a cross reference to the social media policy.
Yeah.
So that people know that there is a social media policy. And then the other thing is, I think it would be useful, speaking as an ex-director, if you could include some guidance for directors when they are using their district accounts.
Hmm.
I think that the board could benefit from a policy on that.
As part of this
It
policy.
could be as part of that or as a distinct one, but because normally the directors normally are not in there, in the trenches doing
Yeah.
stuff.
It could
But we
be
are.
easy to get them.
Because you have your district account, and so
Yeah.
maybe there should be some guidelines
You
as to
could- you
how
could
that
get
should
them-
be used.
That could get muddy.
Yeah. Just as a thought.
Okay. And then I do have a question on F where it says currently all district email sent is not encrypted.
Oh, yeah, what about that?
Which page are you on?
Second page under F.
Yeah, second page, there it is. Yeah, I saw that too. I wondered about it.
Well, there's a couple Fs, so which,
Oh,
are you
The
looking
second
at this?
page, the
Second
second
page.
page at the top.
The second page of the
CSD, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, currently all district emails sent is not encrypted.
That is true, I believe.
That is true.
Yeah,
I've never seen any encrypted. Unencrypted email.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Most HTTPS is where you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's,
Yeah,
and normally your emails are not encrypted unless you.
yeah.
I mean, it's good. I mean, you shouldn't do anything on a computer that you couldn't do on a street corner, actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so those are a bunch of, again, preliminary things for,
Okay, so.
for consideration with correcting. Now, is it important in any way for us to see those edits prior to the full blown rework that they're doing?
Well, I think that they can work on what they're planning on working on and getting it to a point where we can take a look at it.
Okay,
then-
yeah, that's my question.
Yeah,
Do we
yeah.
have an opportunity to take a look at it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you'll do a red line for us.
again, just for more eyes on all of it. You
I
know,
am
not
just
for it.
waiting for us to have policies that are ours.
I know it's confusing. It may be a good idea to bring back the social media policy as well, because it was last approved by the board in 2021. And one of the things that bugs me in here, it says chat functions in any social media site should not be used.
Yeah.
And, the community reaches out to me all the time and says, hey, there's an issue with the sand sign being gone. I had a comment from Pat Riley the other day telling me that there's a huge pothole on Rodeo Ground Road.
Oh, yeah.
And I like responding to the public. I don't want to ignore them. So I don't like that that's there, and it is a public record. If someone were
Yeah, I
to
think
submit it,
you're
I would happily release it, but that's
Okay.
something I think we should consider removing.
Yeah, I think
And
you
maybe just
probably
look at
ought
the
to.
policy as a whole again.
Or keep it only for
Absolutely.
directors, so because there's a Brown Act issue.
Yeah, maybe for
They said
directors,
directors should
yeah,
never
you know,
use the
they
chat.
Want to
Yeah.
communicate
Of
with the
course.
community next door and everything.
Why don't we
Send
add
it
that to our next future agenda? Well, her suggestion here is that we review
Social media.
the social media
Time
policy
to,
and take into consideration some of these comments that we've just heard.
You said that using chat on like next door or something like that, is that where that?
It says chat functions in any social media site should not be used.
Well, I'm just wondering, maybe it would be better to say, could you resend that to me through an email? And then you wouldn't be chatting with people.
It's not that I'm chatting, I'm just responding to your.
Well, I mean, your answer.
Quick.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she,
I don't want to
she,
ignore them.
right,
And they're usually
she
right
sees
there.
it come up
They're
and it's
online.
like, well, if I can't
So,
touch it,
yeah.
what can I
I
do?
understand what you're doing. I'm saying that you can avoid having to be a chat on FaceTime next door.
Like, I can't really avoid if they contact me on Nextdoor to ask if 46 is open from the fire, like
Right.
I feel like they can see me reading it and I want to respond to them.
Yeah, you're-
Not
you're
only-
fine.
Not only that,
Send
it's,
you an email.
it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good, it's really good information for everyone.
For everybody.
And I don't have their email address, I just see a name and it'll
Yeah.
say Claudia H or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't
So,
give me any other information about that.
so in
Yeah.
our consideration, perhaps you can describe a couple of scenarios where that has been the case.
Mhm.
So that when we actually review this thing, we can go, well, okay, there's a scenario.
Yeah.
How do we adjust the policy?
Yeah.
To be a 19 or to be a 2024 policy as
Yeah.
opposed to a 2021
Yeah,
policy?
I can provide you guys with a lot of examples.
Yeah, I mean, if there were a couple of scenarios that were like, here I am and I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Because of this policy.
Yeah.
How about taking a look at that?
Okay, so what we're doing right now is that you and the GM are gonna be looking at the Cambria Community Services District Internet and Email Policy and looking at it and comparing it to the internet, to the CSDA policy.
Yes.
And you're gonna provide a red line for us,
Mhm.
so that we can then review it.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're gonna compare it to.
And include the social.
And
media.
include the social media.
the social media.
Do we need that as a
Like the
motion?
way
No, I
CSDA
don't think so.
words a lot of their policies.
Yeah.
So, and ours is just so old, it's 20 years.
I know,
So,
okay.
I will
Yeah.
get you guys something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has a lot of
So-
work to do for our next.
Oh
conversation.
my God.
It'll happen when it happens.
So we'll be relying on you to let me know
Yes.
when, okay.
So she's gonna drive the bus
Yeah.
and then we're gonna. okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion.
I don't think there's a motion there.
Technically, yeah.
Yes.
I would just note that over the last 7 or 8 months, there's been a really refreshing change in the district's either policy of practice. In that currently, they actually do respond to members of the public, whereas in the past, it seemed like
Oh, absolutely,
the policy or practice was to ignore input from the public.
absolutely.
And that's very positive and welcome and refreshing.
Amen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I complain a lot, so you have to give credit where credit is due.
Never.
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 All right, so you got that?
Yeah, I got.
They- they
Because I'm
call
gonna
you back,
rely on you.
You know?
All right,
A few days, so first.
yeah. Okay, thank you. And is there any public comment on that decision? On agenda item
For, what is it?
four C?
See, yeah. for
Yes.
C.
The new GM.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's returning from going.
Okay. All right, then let's go ahead to our agenda item 4D, which is discussion and consideration of 2024 policy committee meeting dates. So prior to doing this, what I want to ask is, are the fourth Thursdays good for everyone?
Mhm.
I think so.
And is the 3 o'clock time good for everyone?
I'm always in San Luis on Thursday, so but today it was just, the dog had held up with the doctor, but. I do organize my Thursday, so I can get back by 3 o'clock. It was 3:30 be better, but we often go for 2 hours.
Yeah.
and you get to
Mhm.
the-
There's a problem, gonna be the staff will go into overtime.
Yeah, that was my concern, is that we
We're
have,
not paid.
I know, but you still want to keep
You're
your
paid
range.
overtime.
That's not fair. We have to keep
Well,
your
then let's
range.
make it 3:30.
I would like to make it. We
They have
can't,
lives too.
we can't do it two.
yeah, you can't do
Can't make it
it,
a two. Huh?
because 2 would be good for
She
these.
makes me nuts.
It would be
It's-
a lot better
it's so
for-
difficult.
I would
For the
much
staff.
prefer it
Yeah.
myself.
How
I'm,
about,
I'm happy with this.
you're happy with 3?
3 o'clock, Thursday, fourth Thursday works for me.
I think you're outvoted.
I think I'm outvoted, yeah.
How about you, Gordon?
What did you, what was your suggestion?
90% of the time.
Oh,
90%. Okay.
2 o'clock.
well,
If it was another day of the week, I could.
I
do
don't
it.
care.
Are there any
Well,
other days of the week that are available to us?
Let me check the website.
Yeah.
Because then Because that was the other question.
That would be a possibility. Let's see.
My only issue is, Wednesdays, sometimes I transport out.
Well, I can't do Wednesdays. 'cause
I think
have my own one.
Tuesdays are
So
usually,
Wednesday's
And,
not.
and Tuesdays,
Yeah.
and
So you
Tuesday
guys
is
wanna
my
meet the
volunteer
fourth
day. so-
Week of the month,
we can try that, yeah. How the Tuesdays look.
so you have Mondays available. This is just for January, and for each month.
Yeah.
Tuesday afternoon would be available. Wednesday.
Tuesday?
So I would say
I can't
Monday
do
through
it Tuesday.
Wednesday.
You
Okay,
can't do Tuesday. You can't do Wednesday or Tuesday.
no.
Wednesday and Tuesdays are.
Mondays.
And,
And I can't do mornings on
Claudia-
Thursday.
and
Let's
Claudia,
say Thursday at 3.
I'm kind of thinking we're pointing right back. to
that
this.
sounds good.
It's fine.
How about you, Gordon?
I'll
You
say
said
Mon-
90%.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, I
Thursday at
thought-
3.
Yeah, Thursday at 3. I
Thursday
just
at
wanted to,
3.
yeah, I just wanted to, I
Sounds-
wanted it, I wanted us to discuss it.
Okay, so the special ones are the 24th.
And the proposed dates you have down are all
December,
Thursdays.
right?
They're all Thursdays at 3,
Thursdays.
although never mind.
So that's
Yeah, cool.
October,
That's cool, very cool.
October
Yeah,
24th.
occasionally,
Fourth Thursday.
I kind of don't think that the day after Christmas is a good idea.
That's what's question mark.
No.
No.
Yeah.
November
Nobody will show up.
21st is got a board meeting.
Oh, November 20, oh, well, we
According to
don't
my
have,
thing here,
we don't have the dates.
yeah, board meetings are on the 14th and the 21st.
No, we haven't accepted the dates yet,
Oh, but if you were, that's when they would be.
21st.
Yeah,
but
so that would conflict with your November 21st, Thursday.
So you could do it on the 20th.
That would be a Wednesday, but then we have that other
Wednesday
issue.
doesn't work.
What
Or
about
we
the
go to the
19th?
27th.
We could take December. off.
No, because that's the day
That's
before
what we did for
Thanksgiving.
finance. We took December off.
I was
and
gonna say,
combined it with
just take
January.
December off.
Oh, you're right, yes.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
We did that, we decided to.
You think so?
No, I said, she's not to make it up.
Okay, say that again.
We did that in finance, we took December off. And
Okay.
we are combining it with our January meeting, and we moved the January meeting more into the beginning, so my eye is watering, I'm not crying.
It's
It's so sad.
Is everybody okay with that?
So what is it now?
Do not have a December meeting and, yeah,
And you
and,
can always schedule a special meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
there
did
we
one in
go.
December, like at the beginning of December,
okay.
you can move it up.
So,
We did cancel our December. I mean,
So with the board
that's not
meetings,
problems, yeah.
the board meetings in November are the 14th and the 21st.
that's what I have. That'd be the second and third Thursdays. So it would be the November when we went.
Why don't we just do an early December meeting
Hey, there's a thought.
and not do is there an early December meeting we could do?
Just the week before, maybe.
Well, no, let's do it like,
Oh, we can't do the week before because that's the CCSD.
Well, how about the first week in December?
yeah, that's the first week in December.
We can do that.
The first week in December,
Yeah,
on Thursday, the 5th,
yep.
Matthew, has his meet the GM
Mm.
tentatively scheduled for that day, and that would be in the main hall.
it could be a meet the GM and the policy.
There you go.
Maybe we get some more folks coming
We could do both.
So would you be meeting at the end of November and then the first
No.
week of December?
No.
Just December
It's
5th.
just December 5th and not November.
So cross out the 21st here.
Huh?
When would we meet in November?
We wouldn't.
Well, you're saying to skip November.
Just
Yeah.
October and then
November, and
Yeah.
then do December.
Yeah, December 5th.
So December 5th
Yeah.
Does that work?
and November. skip
And then
it.
what about, so November meeting was shifting?
Yep,
Now we're gonna have to have a motion.
yeah.
Put some of this in a Word document, really nice, because then we can.
I'm sending out the schedule like I do for every committee, and it'll be in a pretty format with all the dates and times.
Okay.
We'll get it shortly.
Okay.
Yes. Does that work for everyone? And if so, could we, is there any public comment about dates? I don't see any. Okay. So is that okay with everyone? And if so, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Motion.
accept the proposed dates for our policy meeting in 2024. With the exception of no meeting in November and meeting in December on the, did you say the fifth?
Yeah.
Fifth.
December fifth.
And I'll second that.
Okay,
No, November. Okay, second by, okay.
so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Gordon?
Still trying to find it on the calendar.
Yeah, it's so far out there, who knows?
Yeah.
You know, we're back to 24.
Well, yeah, okay.
I'm almost there.
No,
Okay, we'll
I
wait
had
for
this
you.
December, I was fine, but
December fifth, okay.
well, the lavatory is good though.
I would say the same thing about this December. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's not till,
That's a long ways off.
yeah, tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Tomorrow's
That'll
December,
work,
isn't it?
okay.
You're
So,
right.
anybody opposed? All right, motion passes,
Motion
great,
passes. Unanimous.
unanimous. All right, future agenda items. We have a bunch, but we don't know that we're gonna be able to do them at our next meeting. Because we need red line versions.
Mhm.
Well, I already scheduled time to meet with Matthew for 3 hours on Monday to knock out the 2 policies. For the internet and email, and then review the social media. So we're gonna start reviewing it next week.
Okay,
Denise and I are
That'll
meeting
give
next
us
week to review
Yeah.
the purchasing policy.
yeah,
So Deborah, I will give you an update.
Yeah.
Sometime next week.
yeah, and, you know, we wanna be, we wanna be, conscious of your schedule and all that, so. We'll work around you. Okay, and then the other thing that I said, that I wanted to, that I failed to do. Yeah, we need to, let's put, can we expand the role of the GM?
Oh, the role of the GM.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's got
Work is that?
plenty of time to sit around. and
You wanna
do
give the
other stuff.
GM more work?
no.
No,
Can we
yeah,
expand what is in the law?
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
Yes,
okay. I know it's
You
gonna be
mentioned
kind
at
of
the
crazy, but
beginning.
back in the middle of August, I sent you a bunch of stuff on 804-100.
yes.
Oh,
Should we bring that on the agenda or what?
This
what-
was about the,
This was about the.
Street frontage, right?
Yeah, frontage ordinance.
yeah, we don't have any, role in that, is what I've been told.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not a policy, it's a,
It's a municipal code.
it's a municipal code, and
Yeah.
that has to go, what you have to do is you have to write a letter to the GM and the president and ask for that to be agendized for the board.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I mean, I do think that's important.
Biden has a role in what gets agendized there. Biden has a role in what, oh, you mean the CCSD for the president, you said the GM and the president.
Oh,
Sorry.
where are you? Jim?
Yeah. we're going to the top.
I love this committee. Love this committee.
I got stitches in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Functioning.
Okay, but what else was I?
See how big
doing?
those eyes are?
I know, I know.
It was at the end, your legislative advocacy,
Oh, yeah, right.
yes,
I said they did
yeah.
respiratory brain surgery, they didn't find it,
Yeah, I know.
there wasn't anything in there.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens, you know, it's one of those
Let's
things.
see.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, anything else under
All right, let's see.
future agenda items? And is there anything from any of the public, for public comment for agenda items?
Is Laura still around?
Laura's still there, I love it that
I
way.
tell you, she is awesome, isn't she?
She is awesome. Okay,
Okay, well, too
Great.
much to do with summer. right here.
yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and adjourn. It is 4:24.
Adjourn.